the bearings in, the bottom half. So this one here is the thrust. These all came with that scat kit. So everything's sized for it. Be like 70 pounds. .909H, it's all part of the scat kit. This is the rear main, and you'll notice this has a hole on the bottom. It's oil holes there. The top, I'll call it the top, but the top, the piece, the bearing that goes in the saddle, the bolts on here, does not have an oil hole on it. And I roll it in because there's this tab here as well. I mean, kind of, it's almost like they snap in. That's also the thrust bearing for your end play. So get that crank in. Rods and everything in, check end plate before you put the rods and pistons in. See if you're in the neighborhood. Cause you know what? Too little end plate can be okay. You just gotta deal with that. Sand it down. It should be good. This is like a stock type crank. Nothing crazy going on, so but I will check it. Bearings for the main caps. There will be bottoms and there will be tops. And the holes is all wrapped in plastic. The bearings I took out of this motor look like brand new too, so it's all good. Plastic open without scratching the bearing. I remember getting these as a youngster. They'd be wrapped in paper, oily paper. Actually kind of smelled weird too. Anyone remember that? Paper wrap bearings and they smelled funny. Cross between, I don't know, gear oil and feet. And just an odd smell. Now these aren't numbered or anything. 1006. Standard upper. Yeah, they're labeled upper because that's the upper is the block. The saddle's the lower. So they're labeled right on the bearing. I don't know if we can see. This probably can't see the. It's engraved on there, stamped in them. A Cleve Light 77. MD standard. And these can only go in one way, so you don't have to worry. It's the same thing. I just do the same deal. Roll it in, line up. Next one. Just line up the tang on the bearing with the slot and the main drill here. Push it down. Flush on both sides. Rod cap will push it the rest of the way in. The main bearing cap. The holes all line up. Yeah, the only special one is the rear Some motors it's in the middle. Depends on the engine you're working on. Amazing. Wow. This is oh boy. Whew. That's a beauty right there. It's supposed to be light. Holy cow. It's not as heavy as a cast one. Doesn't have center weights. They're kind of unnecessary. Cancel each other out. You watch David Vizard, he talks about without the center weights, makes for a much lighter crankshaft. But in long duration, sustained high RPM conditions, you can get it. The crankshaft can actually deflect end to end and wobble. It's side to side, its rotational balance is fine, it's end to end. But that's like in a road race or stock car application. An extreme high RPM, like a sustained like 8 grand is only seen after 7. And in a short burst drag race application, that's probably the best way to go. This is all balanced and polished in the balancing report. All that had to be done, no weight had to be added, only a little bit taken out, like 45, 47 grams from one end and like 90 grams from the other. Let's see which holes do this. Yeah, this would be on 90 gram end. And this end was like 45, it was not even half an inch deep. So very little taken out, which is fantastic. Not having to add weight, even better. He was telling me about a crank he had there for a big block Ford, and he ended up adding a few hundred grams to it just to get it to balance out. That's ridiculous, because that moly is expensive. So he was saying they had to add like $500 worth of moly. That's the heavy metal that they use. They put slugs in the crank journals, and drill them out, or the counterweights, they drill them out, put the slug in. So I don't know, she's a good looking crank. That's what he said. Machinist said she's nice, so I'll believe him. David Vizard liked scat cranks, and I don't think too many people can counter argue with Mr. Vizard's experience. I didn't put the rear main seal in. Like I said, I'm going to check. I'm going to torque these down. I'm going to check it with plastic gauge. As long as she's in the neighborhood. Polish them and chamfered the oil holes on the mains too. It's pretty. Here, take you over, have a look. Okay. Cranks in with the bearing halves in the saddles for the main bearings. What I'm gonna do now is I'll use some plastic gauge. I'm gonna plastic gauge the bearings to make sure clearances are in the range they should be. Oh, I'm gonna step away from it. I'm gonna look it up, see what it should be. So I'm not going off memory here. Okay. I guess when I was torquing the bolts, the camera shut off. Actually, my phone here. So what I did, I torqued everything down to 70 foot-pounds, and then I loosened everything back off. So I got goo on my lens. Ugh. Probably some of that grease. I was like, that's better. Okay, to see the red goosh. Hang on a second. Turn that light off there. A little bit of a glare. You can see the red. That's the squished. So what we want to do now is compare it, the width of it. Like I said, it's not exactly rocket science accurate. There it is, 0020. It's not quite. And then there's the white there is 003. And it's better angle on this. Cap. It's a little narrower than that. And call it 003. Maybe not quite. So there, I would, whoops, sorry about that. Just drop the phone here. So on that one, I would call it good. Which I didn't expect any worse. And then I've loosened all these bolts off. I'm just gonna pull each main cap off, which hard to do with one hand. Kind of give them a little wrap with my plastic hammer and pop it off there. Go through them, check the plastic gauge, clean this off, and then if it's good, throw some assembly lube on it and torque main caps back down on it. And then the crank is installed. So I think they'll all be good anyway, but so I'm gonna pop the caps off and wipe this off. Just wipe it off with a rag. Alrighty, that's what I'm gonna do now. Yeehaw.